Hey, what's going on, everybody, and happy Halloween. We are having a special bonus episode here to celebrate, and we're going to be wrapping up, I guess, our whole Rocktober thing. Um, it doesn't really have anything to do with The Nightmare on Elm Street, but we covered every other movie in this series, and I figured it was about time we tackled Halloween Ends.
Yeah, we
So,
don't want to. We did everything else, so we may as well wrap it up.
yeah, we had a loose end that we had to tie up, so it was time for it. So, without further ado, Halloween Ends. It is from 2022 and is directed by David Gordon Green. The plot for this one is the saga of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode comes to a spine-chilling climax in the final installment of this trilogy. That's part of it. It's a little misleading. And I have two very different experiences with this movie. Interesting enough. We'll get into that, but I'm going to cover the cast here right now. We got Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode, Andy Matichak as Allison, James Jude Courtney coming back again as Michael Myers, Rowan Campbell as Corey, Will Patton as Frank, and Kyle Richards again as Lindsay. I know this is the first time watch for you.
Yeah, so I guess to start off, um, just like a little intro to it. Um, it's been a while since I've been able to kind of experience a fresh take on a Halloween movie, and it's pretty unique. It was an enjoyable experience to just watch the film and see a new take on the Halloween, and it was pretty entertaining.
Well, I'm a little surprised.
That's total BS, by
I was gonna
the
say, is that all
way.
you have to say? This has been Rock Video Rental.
All right, and we're done. All right,
Um,
and see. No,
this was
yeah,
my second time watching it, so that's kind of interesting to take it in a second
yeah.
time.
Was it vastly different than the first time?
It was pretty different. I will
Okay.
say the first time I saw it is last year. I went to the 12-hour horror movie Invasion at the Howell Theater.
Hmm.
So I watched six movies, and then at the end they're like, "Oh, here's the surprise movie." It was Dead Alive, the Peter Jackson zombie movie. It's like you can see this, or you could just hop over to the screen next door, and it's like, and we'll queue up Halloween Ends for you. So me and my friend, we went over to the next screen to watch Halloween Ends because we both really wanted to see it. And once we got done with it, we wish we probably would have stayed for Dead Alive. We both had really strong dislike for this movie the first time around. Um, I mean, we'll probably get into more of that, but my second time around, I don't know. I don't know if it grew on me or what, but um, you want to just jump into it? It's probably the best way to handle it.
Yeah, well, before we do that, I need a little bit further information. Like it grew on you, like, or it possibly grew on you, like it went from a C to a B, or like it it how extreme of a change are we talking about here, or minimal
I
of a
would
change?
say pretty drastic because maybe I wasn't in the right mind to watch it that first time after already watching six other horror movies and 12 hours to go into this one, which is over 2 hours long, I believe.
It's an hour and 50 minutes, yeah.
Oh yeah, about 2 hours. And I was had a couple points where I felt myself like dozing off. Um, so maybe I just wasn't in the right mind state to watch it because I really disliked this movie the first time I saw it, and this time around, like I guess I enjoyed it more. Like I hate to bury my grade up front. I will say the first time I watched it, it was probably an F for me.
Like what, a 0.5,
Maybe like
1?
a one. Like
Okay.
it's definitely better than the Rob Zombie crap.
Yeah.
Maybe like a 1.5
Yeah.
the first time I saw it. Um, it had some things going for it. but at the end of the day, I really disliked it the first time. And like my friend and I, we talked about it on the way home because we had probably about a 40-minute drive home from Howell, and neither one of us really cared for it. And I actually texted him this time after watching it the second time, and I'm like, you might want to rewatch it and see what your thoughts are on it.
Yeah. Well, so not to definitely get into grades or anything, but a little bit of I don't know if I would say summary at the beginning that I would say is um I did not care for them trying to add something to the concept of Michael Myers.
Yeah.
I was really bothered by that, but at the same time, while I was watching it, I also saw it from the aspect of like I almost was thinking of it as Halloween 3, where it's
Hmm.
just like if you took this movie by itself and watched it by itself and had no other context, it'd be a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's part of the Halloween series and not just that, but this is clearly part of the Michael Myers Halloween movies,
Hmm.
it it messes things up way too much.
Yeah.
So,
It's funny you say Halloween 3 because I was talking the mindset I went into watching this kind of changed a little bit. As in, like, I want to see how I feel about it now because another friend of mine, um, the guy's seen like every single slasher movie I can possibly name off, and then ones I've never even heard of. He was telling me that he really enjoys this movie, and he's like, I have a feeling it's gonna be like Halloween 3, where people hated it when it first came out, and then upon like further rewatching and the older it gets, the more it grows on people. Where
mhm,
now it seems like a lot of people really like Halloween 3.
yeah,
It doesn't have anything to do with their original franchise, but like as a standalone movie, it's pretty good. And I could see some similarities in this, and I see some differences too. Like it's not a perfect movie, that's for sure. And him and I both agreed on that it still has its faults.
yeah. Well, so here I think might be one of the quickest things to the biggest um black spots man, there was a different term I was trying to look for, but different issues with this movie, and it's the fact that they took the spotlight off of Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Like it I mean, if you're watching if you're listening to this, chances are you saw the movie. If you didn't see the movie, spoiler alert ahead for the rest of it and everything. I mean, they made it more about Corey than they did Michael Myers. Like Michael Myers was a side character. It was not until the very end of the movie that he got his moment with Lori, and for a very brief time, I should have timed how long that was that he actually really had a main contribution to the movie. I bet it'd be like 5 or 10 minutes, maybe, for a
Yeah.
really impactful scene. And besides that, he pops in here or there. Now, granted, I will give them some credit though. What they did with him when they did sprinkle him in throughout the movie was done rather well. But at the same time, the big issue is that they took the spotlight off of Michael Myers for no, I mean, they didn't have to, for no understandable reason. They added more elements to this and made it more confusing.
Hmm.
So that is one of the biggest things that I would say and take away from it.
Yeah. I would I would agree with that. The lack of Michael, and even in parts the lack of Lori.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
feel like is the detriment to this movie. Um,
I mean, real quick before you go on, Michael Myers like didn't show up until like 45 minutes, maybe 50 minutes into the movie, so
yeah,
almost halfway through the movie.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I have it in my trivia facts. He doesn't appear until 38 minutes into the movie,
okay.
and even then, it's like briefly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we get introduced to the new character of Corey,
Yeah.
Corey Cunningham, which, I mean, in all fairness, is an interesting character.
Mm.
Um, I guess. I guess before I use up all my stuff here, uh, I would put the actor playing the Corey character as one of the great things in this movie
Okay, yeah, sure.
because you know the character might have been a little unnecessary, but I thought he did an amazing job acting in it. Like the amount of different emotions and stuff that he had to show, and like the range that the guy showed, like he was believable. He had to be kind of like, at the beginning of the movie, they show him babysitting that boy, and he's kind of like, he'd be like a fun babysitter to have. He's
Mm-hmm.
kind of laid back, kind of let you do what you want as long as like you're not going to get in trouble for it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the big thing happens where he accidentally knocks the boy over the balcony and the kid falls and dies. And then he
Yeah.
goes from being like a dour, kind of like down, obviously. Everybody hates him. Everybody thinks that, he's like a killer and it was a complete accident, but no one believes him. And then, once he meets Allison, he starts showing like a softer side and like showing that he is a good guy. And then he kind of takes like a dive into madness during it.
Mm-hmm.
So like the complete range of emotions that he's able to convey and like be convincing, I thought he did a really good job in this movie.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think he did a good job. I think there were a lot of good performances in this movie. It's more so the general concept and execution of the movie that I think is its detriment. So, at least in my view, for being a part of the Halloween series. Again, like I said, a movie like if you take this movie by itself, I there are a lot of great things I could say about it, and I would give it probably a pretty good rating by itself, but rating it as a Halloween movie, a part of the Halloween series, it man, it just got weird, frankly. Honestly, when I was watching it, it made me think of Friday the 13th part 5 because the copycat killer,
Yeah.
I was like, are they trying to take notes from Friday the 13th on, making this about a copycat killer and not even about Michael Myers? But like it almost like the whole time watching it, I was just thinking of different things that were punching holes in the whole concept. Like, first of
Yeah.
all, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say this is almost like the movie that they were going to make with Halloween 5. I don't know if you remember at the end of Halloween 4, Jamie Lloyd kills her foster mom. And that's when Loomis is like, no, no. And it shows that, like, the evil trait or whatever from Michael is passed on to her.
Mm-hmm.
And they had like an original script. I have this book that's got like all the unmade Halloween sequels, like the
Okay.
ideas that floated around. I haven't finished it yet. I'm about a third of the way through, but there's a ton in between Halloween 4 and 5. And one of them they had was to have Michael and like Jamie teaming up and like killing people. And that's kind of the idea you get with this because like Corey and Michael kind of join forces
Yeah.
to kill people. And I don't know if like that was like they're playing this with this or if it's just a coincidence. I feel like it's too on the nose to be a coincidence.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, so my big issue with that was basically up until the end of Halloween Kills, Michael Myers was just a man. He was a
Hmm.
freak, but he was a man. And he did not really express pain a whole lot. He did not speak. He did not really have emotion. He was faceless. He was a shape, but he was a man. But at the end of Halloween Kills, they kind of gave him a little bit of a super ability where he basically just wiped all those people out.
Yeah.
Which was a little absurd, but at the same time, like, okay, is this still in the realm of reality? Sure. But then, um, man, I am trying to think through all the movies outside of the cult stuff,
Hmm.
the Michael Myers cult stuff. This is the first and only time that they made it um spiritual magical power kind of a thing.
Hmm.
Because she referenced at the end of Halloween Kills, I remember, like, he is evil, like, he's not natural, he's not human, he is evil. I think that's been referenced through other movies as well, but like, they, because of him killing all those people at one time and that quote and everything, there's a little bit of like, oh, he's not human. But then in this one they completely go out because what, it's like 4 years after the last movie, I think,
I think so, yeah.
and he's just been chilling in a sewer. Like,
Eating rats and stuff, yeah.
if that, yeah, like, it just, why, there's no explanation for why. Like, what was he waiting for? Um, and then he makes a connection and has this like power or something with Corey, and he lets him live because he knows that Corey's on it. Just, again, movie by itself, cool, get it. But this makes no sense in Michael Myers' realm of reality. I mean, am I
Right.
wrong or?
No, I'd agree with that. Um, just like, yeah, because they have like that weird connection where they look at each other, they like make eye contact or something, and then it's like Michael can see like some of himself in a Corey or something.
Yeah, there was something weird there, like a transfer of,
Evil or something.
yeah, I don't know exactly what they were going for, but it didn't make sense.
Yeah, we needed some Dr. Loomis
Explanation.
exposition.
Yeah, that
The
would have been
darkest
great.
eyes, the devil's eyes. Oh gosh. Yeah, it's like they have some kind of like weird connection. Um, I do like how Michael is like starting to show his age and he's a little beaten down because it makes sense, like he got the little crap kicked out of him in the last couple movies.
Hmm.
And it's like it's starting to take a toll on him because he's not as strong as he used to be.
Yeah.
I
Well,
kind of like that idea because Michael be like 70 years old. I mean, how old is Jamie Lee Curtis? She's gonna be up there.
yeah. I don't know. Well, when did the first movie come out? 78?
Yeah, 1978. So the Jimmy Lee Curtis is 64 years old. So
So,
I mean, and she was playing an 18-year-old in Halloween, and she was 19. So she'd be like 62 when this movie came out. Like Laurie would be 62.
yeah, and so he's older than that. So he's going to
Yeah,
be
so
like
he's got to be
65,
it's got to be
70.
like, yeah, close to 70 probably
Yeah, but then that leads to more questions on being like, okay, if he got the crap beat out of him without medical attention, how did he survive?
because he's insane. I don't know.
Yeah, but like, it just,
He's got the darkest eyes, the devil's eye.
also, then why didn't the homeless guy rat Michael Myers out?
I
Like,
don't know.
he knew Michael was in there. Why was he keeping his secret? Like, he
I
could have
don't
gone
know.
to the cops and been
Look
like,
the
hey,
other way.
I guess, I don't know. It just,
I
so
could
much.
kind of see that. Like, I feel like homeless people have this code where it's just like, I didn't see nothing. It doesn't affect me. I didn't see nothing, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
no, I don't think there's much of a reputation for homeless people to report crimes and things like that.
Yeah.
But still, like, it just, I don't know. It just seemed weird that he would just be down. Like, why? If it was a year later, I could have understood it. Like, if it was a year later, but 4 years later, he survived that long, and then just randomly, it's like, oh, perfect. This Corey kid gets thrown off the bridge right outside my hideout.
Yeah.
Like just too random. But one thing I will say a little bit with this movie, I don't know if I would put it as a negative, but I'm wondering if you picked up on it. A lot of the kills were very uh you could tell not you could not only tell who was going to die, but a lot of times you could tell how they were going to die because they gave you clues leading up to it so often.
Yeah.
Like the whole corkscrew for the bottle of wine, like they really emphasized it in the filming. Um
Yeah, everything is pretty telegraphed.
yeah, there was something else too. But also I was waiting, and then eventually at the end, even before they got there, I knew they were going to throw Michael in the garbage compactor or whatever thing,
Yeah,
shredder. Because every single time they were at the junkyard, they
they showed
had
that.
they showed it, and I was like, okay. I was expecting that Terry kid to get thrown in it, but I knew somebody was going to get in there eventually. So, oh, and
Yeah.
well, talking about kills a little bit too. Um, it just me, or did I liked the little kind of homages that they played to the original Halloween with how he stabbed the one girl and pinned her against the wall. Um, and he kind of cocked his head, and then how Corey was standing outside by the bushes, like the original Halloween. There was one other major one. I mean, there were plenty more, but there was one other major one that I was kind of like, oh, that was pretty good. But um, it, I find this kind of interesting because I actually felt like um th- some of the kill aspects were more Friday the 13th style than Halloween. And
Yeah.
do you have a guess what I'm referring to?
Not off the top of my head. What do you got?
When he killed the DJ.
Yeah.
Like that was, I mean, I get it, it was gruesome and everything, but that felt more like a Jason kill than a Michael Myers kill.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I forgot about the DJ one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another thing too, where just kind of I don't know, it didn't help reinforce the Michael Myers universe aspect to me. Like there were a lot of different things in here where it's just like, well, then also Laurie's dialogue, Laurie's narrating, like that was extremely heavy in this movie, and it felt weird and out of place to me, honestly.
Yeah. Uh, Yeah. So I guess other things that were good. The music. I thought the music
Yeah,
was pretty solid.
yeah, it really set the tone for everything. Honestly, like it was filmed well too, like cinematography wise. I
Hmm.
feel like this movie was really well done. Like it looked great. It flowed, the editing and the flow seemed to go really well. There were a few parts where it was a little slow, sure, but again, when you look at the aspects individually and everything, a lot of a lot of them were well done. Honestly, like I feel like I'm really coming down on the movie, and it's kind of funny. It kind of surprises me because it's actually more than I feel like you are, at least at this point. But when you look at all the different elements, I think all the elements themselves are great. But when you have to put it under the lens of this is a Halloween Michael Myers movie, then that completely like shatters everything and puts it under a new perspective.
Yeah, it's such an outlier, I feel
Mm.
like, especially in this trilogy, that, well, it was built up to be like Michael and Laurie's last battle, and that battle only lasts like, what, 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Like, I like the way that they killed Michael off because it was like overkill.
Yeah.
But what I didn't like about it, and this kind of goes into what I thought was kind of bad, I thought that Michael should have put up a longer fight versus Lori. And, like,
Mm,
I understand that Michael's beaten down and like weakened, but he still is fighting a 60-some-year-old woman.
yeah.
I don't know. I thought there should have been like more of a chase, more of a battle, because really all he does is go into that one in the kitchen
Hmm.
and like Lori messed him up.
I,
But
I do agree with that. Like, even though she had her fight with Corey, again, well, that's part of the reason too that reinforces the whole idea that Michael Myers was like a secondary character, a side character,
yeah,
because his battle was so minimal at the end. Now, one
yeah. I
thing,
mean, Corey is the main character of this movie.
oh yeah, no doubt, which is wrong. It's a Michael Myers movie.
Yeah, he's a brand new character brought into this movie, and he becomes the main character.
Yeah. Um, one thing talking about that section of the movie in particular that I will definitely give them credit for, when Corey got beat by Lori
Hmm.
and she like tricked him, shot him, did that whole thing. Kudos to them. That I probably one of the biggest surprises, besides basically him accidentally killing the kid at the beginning of the movie, um, was him killing himself,
Yeah,
stabbing himself in the neck. Where you know you sit there for a second, like what does that accomplish? But then it's like, oh yeah, it's gonna make her out to be the bad person. So I
right.
thought that I mean I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought that was handled pretty well. There's a scene before that you talked about a little bit ago. Um, the heavy dialogue from Lori, and
Hmm.
it was kind of reminiscent of some of like the Dr. Loomis stuff, where it's like really deep and you know
But he never
talking.
narrated, right?
No, not really. More of just like he gave a lot of exposition for things. I felt like,
Oh yeah.
um, and then we get the scene of her like in her room, and she hears like a noise, and then she like pulls out a gun, and then she looks at it and she holds it to her head, and she's like about ready to cry, and the camera like pans away, and they hear the gunshot and like a splatter up against the wall.
Mhm.
And like when that happened, when I saw this in theater, I'm like, they seriously just have Lori kill herself? Because like after everything else in this movie, I'm like, is this seriously what this movie's going for? Like there's no way that the character of Laurie Strode is going to off herself. And then they go into the room, and she's like, "Do you seriously think I would do that?" And what she did was shoot a pumpkin.
Mhm.
Yeah, like that scene to me was just like, what in the hell? And I was kind of happy to see that, but then at the same time, like that was a little dumb.
Yeah. Well, another kind of thing that I would almost toss in the same group as that is Ronald, Corey's dad, stepdad,
Yeah,
something, mom's boyfriend, something.
yeah,
When he
junkyard
died,
guy.
yeah, when he died, I was like, oh, really?
Yeah, he was a good guy. He reminded me of Danny Trejo and Rob Zombie
Absolutely.
Halloween.
I was totally like, oh, there's no way they're gonna have Corey kill him. I was like, there's no way. And then go figure that dumb Terry kid accidentally shoots him, which is absolutely ridiculous. But
Yeah, yeah,
um,
screw that Terry kid.
yeah.
Kid was a douche with a capital bag. Oh, yeah, it was sad to see that guy die too, because he was like the only one that, other than Lori, that treated Corey with like respect.
Hmm.
And he said numerous times like he's a good kid. He just, something bad happened to him. Um, Maybe other things that I felt like didn't work that well. Um, I had many would be upset with how little Michael is in the film. My bigger issue was with the lack of Laurie until the end, because I feel like there's a good like 15, 20 minutes where Laurie is not even anywhere in this movie.
Yeah.
When they're, like I said, Corey's the main character in this, and it just like he comes in because we see it at the beginning, and even when I first saw this in the theater, I'm like, okay, this is weird. They're showing this story first, and then like he kept showing up, and I'm like, is this dude seriously the main character in this movie?
Mhm.
But yeah, I feel like Laurie is missing for a fair amount as well. But yeah, the complete lack of Michael was just really bizarre.
Yeah, I don't know. It was as it was going on, I was like, is this really how they want this to end? Like, they really want to end the Halloween series with a movie that barely features Michael Myers.
Yeah,
Because that was the thing. Like, so put it this way: if this movie came out in, I don't know, 5 or more years, and it didn't even have Jamie Lee Curtis in it, but it was just kind of like another concept, like another take on it,
yeah,
I'd probably give it a lot more credit. Where it's just like, okay, cool, something new, something different. But the fact that this is, features Jamie Lee Curtis and is still tied to the original timeline and things like that, it's just like this is not working.
yeah. I'd say my biggest beef with the movie is that it was like almost promised that this was going to be like Michael versus Laurie for the last time. And it was kind of what it was built up to be. Even the poster had like Michael and Laurie standing like back to back. And, and then you see the movie and it's like, oh, here's Corey Cunningham. And now he's the main character and Allison falls in love with him. But then he goes crazy and starts like killing people. Oh yeah, Michael's there too. Oh, and he shows up at the end and Laurie kills him.
Yeah.
That's basically how it was. I think my biggest beef with this, other than I felt like it was false advertising for coming in the movie, I don't like how Corey controls Michael for a lot of the movie at all.
Yeah.
Like there's a scene where they kill that cop, and Corey like yells at Michael to get up, and Michael listens to him.
Hmm.
And like that just kind of pisses me off because like that is so against the Michael Myers character.
Yeah.
Like in any other Halloween movie, like Corey would have just been killed.
Hmm.
And like I
Like it.
understand like he had some kind of connection with him, but still like I don't know. I just don't feel like I don't like how he was kind of bitched out
Yeah. No.
for a
It.
good part of the movie.
I think they were going for part of that aspect of being like, oh, we're on the same side. I'm trying to like motivate you, encourage you. But it definitely came across more of like him demanding and controlling, like you said. And it
Yeah.
definitely did not fit. So,
Yeah, it would have been more um like come on, let's do this. Let's get up. Kind of more like trying to pump him up
hmm,
more than just like screaming at him numerous times to get up.
yeah.
Okay, so I guess we might as well just jump right into the kills. We haven't covered all those yet. Um, I found this list online. I didn't keep track of them watching this. I found this list online here. So this is all the people that were quote unquote victims in this movie. We got the boy at the beginning who broke his neck falling off the balcony. Um, and then it's weird they have two unnamed people that were shot in the head.
Real.
Yeah. And then we
Oh,
got
yeah. Yeah. The people in the car.
yeah. Then we got the woman that hung herself.
Hmm.
We got this girl named Megan who was killed by Michael Myers off the screen. Uh, and then you got a couple people that were killed by Michael, like being lured into that culvert or whatever he was living in. Then we got
Oh, yeah.
the homeless man who was stabbed to death by Corey in self-defense. Then we got that officer Mulaney who had like this weird relationship with Allison. He was held by Corey, and then Michael slit his throat and then stabbed him. That was the one where Corey yells at him.
Yeah.
We get Dr. Mathis, who is Allison's boss. He's stabbed repeatedly in the face by Corey with a corkscrew. We get Nurse Deb, who is the floozy that Allison worked with. She was the one that was pinned to the wall by Michael.
Hmm.
Then we get Billy, who was stabbed in the eye by Corey with the drumstick. Stacy was killed by Corey with a wrench. Then we get Ronald, who is accidentally shot in the head by Terry. Terry gets his face melted by Corey with a blowtorch. That one was crazy.
Yeah.
Margot gets her skull crushed by Corey after he trapped her in a chain link fence and stomped on the head. Um, that girl, I kind of felt bad for her because she took some pity on Corey and tried to get her friends to stop messing with him.
Hmm.
We get Joan, who is Corey's mom, gets stabbed to death with a kitchen knife. There's a receptionist who gets stabbed by Corey. Then there's the DJ who gets his head rammed up against the recording booth until his jaw's broken. And then they use a pair of scissors to cut his tongue off.
Yep.
Corey gets stabbed in the neck. And then Michael, he gets stabbed in the chest, his hands pinned to a table, a fridge tipped over on him. Then they slit his wrist, slit his throat, and then they took him to the junkyard and threw him in that industrial shredder. And my God, that is gory.
They did a really good job making it look good.
But yeah, they saved that money shot for the end of the movie, that's for sure.
Hmm.
Oh. So, trivia and facts?
Yeah, real quick before you get into that, hopefully I'm not stealing one from you. But you know that the kid who died at the beginning of the movie, um, his mom,
Yeah.
she was in Stranger Things.
Oh, she
She's
was, wasn't she?
she's Chrissy's mom.
Yeah, you're right.
Chrissy's mom, Scott. No, yeah. I was just looking at her profile and I saw it on there and I was like, oh, hey, yeah. So,
Rock.
anyways, all right, back to
Nice.
trivia.
All right. I don't have a whole heck of a lot for this, but here we go. The beginning of the film, the movie that Corey and Jeremy are watching is John Carpenter's The Thing, which is a clear reference to the original Halloween, where Laurie and Tommy are watching The Thing from Another World, which was also a reference to John Carpenter, who directed the original Halloween as well as The Thing remake. So Corey Cunningham is a new character inspired by Arnie Cunningham from the 1983 movie Christine. Um, when we are introduced to Corey in Halloween Ends, he's shown to have a similar haircut. He has an identical blue button-up shirt and a pair of black glasses. All are reminiscent of Arnie's in Christine, a movie that was also directed by John Carpenter.
Hmm.
Towards the last act of the movie, Allison can be seen wearing an outfit similar to what Laurie wore during the original Halloween,
Oh, okay.
which we talked about that before, how this franchise was kind of being handed over to her
Yeah.
slowly. So Halloween Ends uses a blue font that is used in Halloween 3 for its opening credits. Halloween Ends was released 40 years after Halloween 3, which
Okay.
is funny because they're both outliers in the franchise.
Yeah.
So in December 2021, it was revealed that Kyle Richards would be reprising her role for the film. Initially, the character was not expected to return for the film, but following a positive reaction with her performance, the script was rewritten to give her an expanded role.
Rock.
So guitar player Zach Myers of Shinedown has a small cameo during the first diner scene of the movie. His real name, in fact, is Michael Zachary Myers.
What?
He has been on set of several Halloween movies over the past several years, and Halloween is his favorite horror movie. He also has several Michael Myers masks, some custom made, and even has several displayed on stage during concerts.
Interesting.
Yeah. This is the longest Halloween movie to date.
Oh, okay.
It's almost 2 hours. Michael doesn't appear until 38 minutes in. We talked about that.
Yep.
So this movie dropped 80% in its second weekend at the box office. It is the second biggest drop for any sequel after the movie The Return to the Blue Lagoon, which was an 80.8% drop.
Mm.
This movie had a $20 million budget and it made $104 million in the box office. And then grades. I pulled from IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. What do you think they are?
IMDb. 4. No. Yeah. Mm,
It
yeah.
is a
A 4 point.
5.0.
Oh, 5.0. I was gonna say
Yeah.
4.2.
Oh,
5.0. Okay. I
yeah.
was
I kind of cut you off there, but as soon as you said four, I'm like, yeah, he's wrong.
wrong. All right. Rotten Tomato
Oh,
critic. I feel like these are going to be like polar opposites almost. So I'm going to say the critic, well, not polar opposites, but far from each other. So I'm going to say the critic is going to be something like 59%.
40.
Okay. Okay. So it's either going to be drastically higher or lower. Rotten Tomato audience, 22%.
57.
Oh, so it does go up. Okay.
Yeah.
Rock. Well, you, my friend, have had this wonderful experience twice. So how about you share your thoughts first?
I will say that the first time that I saw this movie, I really hated it. And I said earlier that it'd probably be like a 1.5 because I don't think it's as bad as Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. But the second time around watching it, I guess I came in with lower expectations and more of an open mind, I suppose. I wanted to give it another shot. I was kind of dreading watching this again. And then after I had that talk with my friend that he went and watched it the second time and he really liked it, um, I enjoyed it more. I guess I could appreciate the performances in it, how it's shot. I still don't like how Corey bosses Michael around for a good part of the movie. I don't like how he becomes like the main character and like Michael definitely gets pushed aside, Laurie definitely gets pushed aside, and that their fight at the end isn't very long.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like how it's like a love story wrapped up in a slasher movie, which is just strange. But at the end of the day, I enjoyed this more than the last time I watched it. And I do think it's a good movie, and it grew on me a little bit. So I'm interested to like watch it again another time. Probably not soon, but maybe next year and see if my mind changes some more. But I ended up giving it a 2.5 out of 5 because I feel like it's a really well made movie. It just kind of stands out in the franchise.
Okay.
It was really hard to grade it. Not gonna lie.
No, I bet. Well, it's a little bit easier for me because actually I've been sitting here looking at the grades I had for the other ones. So I'm like thinking of this all in context of like, okay, because I do want to grade this movie as a Halloween movie. And so to explain my thought process on that, if I was just grading this movie as a movie by itself, not any connection with the Halloween series, I would probably give it like a 4,
Hmm.
maybe 3.5, but probably I feel kind of comfortable with a 4. It was an entertaining movie, a little bit slow. They built him some stuff, but really like the overall mood of the movie, like they did a good job with. I do agree with you. The love story wasn't exactly my favorite thing, but they did execute it well because they didn't overemphasize it. Like I was really worried that they were gonna sex it up and be like, oh, naked girls and that kind of thing. But they
Yeah.
didn't. It was just cut dry. This is a scary movie. we're going to build up some things so that you get connections with the characters to, more so than some movies. So, like I said, movie by itself, I'd probably give it a 4. But the actual grading for this movie is being a Halloween movie, part of the Halloween series, a Michael Myers film. Um, Way off the mark with this one. I mean, I'm going to be rehashing some of the things I said earlier. Michael Myers is a side character. Basically, they made Laurie a side character. They introduced another main character that was absolutely unnecessary because this is essentially supposed to be the film that's supposed to be the climax ending to this whole film series, which I guess what you have the original Halloween movie, then it goes 2018 kills in this one, so technically it's kind of like the fourth one, quote
Yeah.
unquote. um so it's not like the eighth one, but still, it's the climax of these four movies that they're putting together in a series, in a specific series of the Michael Myers. And it's almost kind of like they forgot it was supposed to be about Michael Myers. um uh, they did great stuff. All the Most of the elements were all really good, but Michael Myers, as you said, him being bossed around, uncharacteristic. Him not being in the movie more, uncharacteristic. I love the little nods and homages that they paid to the older movies and things like that. But it didn't really pull its weight. And so I actually landed exactly where you were too. I was already ready to give it a 2.5 because looking at my grades for some of the other ones, I do not feel like I could drop it as low as the Rob Zombie Halloween movies, which
Yeah.
I gave a 2. I gave that a 2. And I didn't feel it was really that bad. I feel like 2.5 is good because it's in the middle.
Hmm.
And it's like, okay, could this have been worse? Absolutely. Going into this movie, I had never expected them to go this route.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, going into I was thinking like, oh man, what could they do with this? I already know that Brandon is kind of disappointed in this movie, so it's got to take some weird turns. So I'm thinking of all these like weird things that could happen. Never once did I think of what was happening in this movie would actually happen.
Yeah. That's the same way I felt watching it the first time. And
Yeah.
I think it helped me more the second time than I knew what to expect.
So yeah, I feel comfortable giving it 2.5.
Rock. There was a couple other things I forgot to mention too. So that black cop shows up again, the guy with the
Yeah.
big hat. That
Yeah.
dude brings absolutely nothing to this series. Why is he in all three of them?
I have no I don't know if that was just their attempt to be like, okay, how can we try to make these more connected? Let's bring back any characters that we can. Let's try to
Yeah,
get that
screw
one
that
guy.
guy. We talked about some homages to the original one. How about the one where Corey falls off the radio station and then he sits up like Michael? Did you notice that?
Oh no, I did. Oh, but I did know that they did have Michael do that when he after Corey took the mask.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a few more things that I noticed too, but yeah, we could go on and on forever with this.
Hmm.
Um I do think this is a good way to kind of wrap up the whole Halloween season and wrap up the series. Uh I do know that the rights were given to Dimension, I believe, for Halloween, so we might be getting more movies or TV shows or something
Okay.
coming out of it. So we'll have to see what happens. I wonder what they're going to do. I would like to see a sequel to Halloween 3.
That'd be cool.
Might as well go
Or a
with it.
prequel, even.
Yeah, or like something, because Tom Atkins is still around. You could still have him in it.
Nice.
And I'm sure he'd be willing to do it. But yeah. So November's coming up and we're doing kind of a taking a left turn here from horror. We're going to be doing John Hughes Month Part 2. I believe it was last year or 2 years ago that we did a John Hughes Month.
Yeah, I
Don't
can't
remember,
remember when.
but we're
Yeah.
going with John Hughes Month 2. And we're going to be, next week, we're going to be covering a classic and we're going to be talking about Weird Science. Or I suppose when this comes out, it's going to be at the end of this week. So in a couple
True.
days, you can look forward to weird science.
Rock.
But until then, as always, be kind and rewind.